Hi everyone, thank you so much for joining us today for our sports betting webinar. My name's Leah Purdy. I'm a Principal Client Advisor here at Global Reviews and looking forward to running you through some of the results from our mobile study executed in May 2016. Today, the majority of data we'll be looking at is from our sales effectiveness study on mobile devices, but you'll also see some snapshots from our marketing effectiveness study over the past 8 months where we have data on 1,600 punters. We will be going into fields again soon across our 3 different regions, Australia, Ireland and also the UK, so please do get in touch if you'd like to be a part of that study. Okay, a quick overview of what we'll be looking at today. So we'll be looking at some examples of the homepage and really what the homepage needs to achieve and areas to improve in order to get them to enter your site and explore further. We'll look at some interesting data where many consumers are actually stumbling at the first hurdle in terms of being able to actually locate the events they'd like to bet on. So how can we make that journey easier for them? We'll discuss the balance between functionality and execution, focusing on how easy it is to place a bet on some of the websites that we've looked at. To give you an overview, as I mentioned, we executed this study in the UK, Ireland and Australia, and there we looked at 450 punters across 16 different sports betting websites, so a total of 450. Today, just in order to tell a story and give you some updates on what's happening in the market, we're going to focus on a few select brands that you can see here. But if you are interested in some of that data that we have on some of the other brands that we've looked at, then again, please don't hesitate to get in touch. To give those of you who aren't familiar with our data a quick overview as to our approach, with all of our studies, we very much come at it from the perspective of the online customer journey. So we break that up into 4 different stages here. Discover, are they able to find your brand? Can they find you within search engines? Consider, do you actually have the functionality or the sports that they would like to place a bet on, and are you able to meet their needs? ACT looks at, once they have actually decided to utilize your website to place a bet, how easy are you making it for them to register and add a bet to the betting slip? And finally, we won't look at it today, but we also work with our clients in terms of how they're servicing their existing customers, whether it be from an app or a separate login portal. So 2 studies we're looking at today. The first is our marketing effectiveness, where we're looking at a sample of 1,600 punters. That's been collected over 8 months. But the majority of today we'll be looking at our sales effectiveness study, which looks at the online journey on mobile websites. We have 4 key data inputs that feed into the scores that you'll see today. The 3 on the right-hand side are collected from our in-market consumers every time we go into field and execute the study. So we are looking at those people who bet regularly rather than looking at the general population. The first one is customer behavior. So we gain insight as to whether consumers are able to complete a specific task on your site, where and how they navigate throughout your site. Do they utilize the hamburger navigation or on-page links? And what's important here is that whilst you will have this kind of data internally for your own website, we're able to provide that information on your competitors' websites, but also we have the context behind what they were trying to achieve. So often our clients don't realize that visitors are unable to find a specific type of bet because within their own data they don't have the visibility that people were actually looking for that specific option. So here we know exactly what they're trying to achieve when we look at where and how they're navigating throughout the site. The second piece is customer attitude. Very much feeds into the likelihood of consumers to return to your site or utilize them in an ongoing manner. We have access to their satisfaction, whether or not they like your website, and how confident they are that they've found the correct data or that they've completed the task successfully. We also gain information from our consumers as to what is most important for them so that we can help our clients prioritize their roadmap. Finally, we have a best practice audit. This is approximately 500 different touch points or criteria across sports betting websites that we've built up over the years. This really helps us identify what functionality you are missing on your website that helps deliver the best customer experience for those consumers who are looking to place a bet online. So we gather all of this data, weighted according to importance to the consumer, and then we're able to deliver our scores both at a macro level, but also enabling us to mine the data at quite a granular level as well. Okay, so what is the role of the website within this online journey, within consumers' decision making, and why are we looking at mobile today? So with our marketing effectiveness study, we asked consumers to spend some time researching online, and then who after that time researching would they now choose to place a bet with. Here we're looking at the top reasons why consumers chose their brand of choice. Why, after spending 10 to 20 minutes researching, did they choose either SportsBet or TAB or SKYBET? These are the top reasons, and as you can see, I've used them before, and trust are extremely popular reasons for choosing their final preference, but we can also see here in the yellow that the website plays a key part in decision making. The website also not only directly impacts their decision making, but also helps to facilitate some of these other reasons, such as their betting options were easy to understand or they had plenty of options to choose from. The website's ability to make that easy or easy for them to find is really key in ensuring that consumers will choose your website to place a bet. Okay, we also ask within our desktop study, which is the DSE on the left, and our mobile study, the MSE on the right-hand side, we ask consumers to let us know what are the most important requirements for a website to have to help influence them when they are looking for a website to place a bet. On the left, we can see with desktop that they're looking for the website to be easy to navigate and for information to be easy to understand. On the right-hand side for mobile, this differs somewhat. So on mobile, they're looking for the ability to find bets by event name, excuse me, and also a quick view of live and upcoming sporting events. Now the latter, a quick view of live current sporting events, is something that most of the brands do very well. It's prioritized on the homepage. However, you'll see in the upcoming data that we're about to look through that the ability to find bets by event name is not as easy to find on as many websites. So as it is a key need of our consumers, we need to make sure that we're facilitating that for them. Okay, one of the questions that we ask across both desktop and mobile is what would you do if you encountered a problem on the website? Each problem encountered is, again, increasing the likelihood of the consumer abandoning. Here what we can see are the results to that question on desktop in the black and in blue for mobile. So what we can see is that when consumers face a problem on desktop, they are highly likely to look for a way to solve their problem, whether it's looking for FAQs or an opportunity to actually contact the brand. However, we can see third down that 31% of all visitors on mobile devices are likely to actually leave the website and look for another provider if they face a problem. So this is a huge risk. It's a 1 in 3 that when experiencing a problem, they would just leave your website without giving you an opportunity to help them further. So this is why it's even more important on mobile for us to facilitate a frictionless journey. So what are the hurdles impacting our customers? Here we're looking at a few select brands and their scores across the 6 different stages across the sports betting on-site journey. So right from initial engagement when they first reach your website through to selecting the channel how they would like to place a bet through to registration. And we can start to identify areas where the different brands need to improve. What we can see here is that sports betting brands score very well for initial engagement when someone first reaches the website, but then the scores drop quite significantly in the second stage, introducing options, which is where we include a task to find a specific event they're looking to place a bet on. So as I mentioned, it's important for us to improve this because it doesn't matter how good our options are, how easy it is to add a bet to the betting slip if they can't even find the event that they're looking to place a bet on. Over on the right hand side we can see when we look at the stage adding a bet to the betting slip, there's a quite large disparity between the brands. So between Betfred scoring 73% and CROWNBET scoring just 35%, there's a huge room here for some of those brands to improve, and for Betfred there's a real advantage for them at this stage. So we'll jump into initial engagement. One of the first tasks that we ask our consumers to complete is to evaluate the homepage against different criteria that it really needs to meet. So there's 10 different criteria and they give it a score out of 10, with 10 being I strongly agree and 1 being I strongly disagree. So what we can do here is start to diagnose areas or ways that we can improve the homepage and reduce bounce rate in doing so. So here it has a visual appealing design. We can see that SportsBet is performing really well in this area. Now visual design and appealing design isn't everything, but it does have an impact in terms of our likelihood to want to return and how enjoyable it is being on the website. Whereas you can see for BetVictor, their score is significantly lower in this area. Up the top, we can see that in terms of whether the site looks like it would cater to you, actually BetVictor score very well and lead this group of competitors. So it's not the end of the world their design isn't as appealing. And this is often linked to by clutter. So BetVictor score highest for the pages uncluttered, allowing me to easily find information. So consumers are happy to forgive a slightly dated or unappealing looking website if it makes it easy for them to find what they're looking for. Finally, in terms of it displays all the information I expect to see on a homepage, we can see that CROWNBET has the second lowest score amongst this group of competitors, and we'll look at that shortly as to why that might be and how they can possibly improve that. So each of these metrics help us diagnose what's going on your homepage and how you might improve that. So SportsBet is the market leader for one of the categories we call mobile capability, and this looks at how are you adjusting your website to deliver a great experience on mobile devices. So SportsBet offer many different avenues within the site from the home page, and one of the ways that they do that is not only with the on-page options or the hamburger menu, but also with these options up the top here. And consumers can scroll across for more options here, so they're able to, within the same amount of space, provide more options for consumers to navigate into the site without navigating to a new page. The hamburger menu also provides functionality to navigate in a slightly different way. One thing that's really key here in terms of the success of this functionality on the SportsBet page is very small, but how this option for horse racing is just cut off slightly. What that does is it communicates to consumers that there are more options there and that they should swipe in order to find more options. If, for example, those elements cut off nice and neatly at download the Android app, it wouldn't be clear necessarily to many consumers that there were more options there. So signposting is really key in terms of communicating to your consumers how they should utilize your website, but also where there might be more content or options to meet their needs. So it's really important to, from the homepage, facilitate multiple journeys, but also try and keep the homepage as uncluttered as possible to not overwhelm people and increase that bounce rate. So a few other things that SportsBet do quite well. They have easy access to live events, which, as we have seen, is extremely important on mobile devices. They clearly display secure payment information. They also ensure that all the options throughout the site, the links, the buttons, are mobile friendly. So instead of having small links, they have these square links that you can see over here, which are more friendly to people when they are navigating around with their hands rather than with a mouse as we do on desktop. They also communicate some really great security information. So for example, when logging in, it is communicated to users that they have 4 login attempts remaining. So they have this functionality to keep the consumer's data safe, their account safe, but also to ensure that these security capabilities don't hinder their experience. So by communicating that there are 4 login attempts remaining, they are helping the visitor to understand what will happen if they do continue, rather than just locking the account after those login attempts have been maxed out. So it's very important to communicate security measures in a positive manner to ensure that it's not actually hindering the experience. SKYBET is an interesting example where they score very high for functionality, but as you can see, the execution isn't quite there, with some voice of customer from our consumers who haven't felt that SKYBET would meet their needs. Trust is a really key part here. As we saw, it was one of the key decision-making factors, and SKYBET, for some visitors, have not been able to articulate that they are a brand worth trusting and therefore risk losing this consumer to another brand. Their functionality, however, they provide a full link to the desktop, clearly communicating where the visitor is within the site. They have some great functionality in terms of providing a demo to communicate how to place a bet, great privacy information, and also helping to cater to returning visitors. They also have immediate forgotten username or ID functionality to help visitors as soon as humanly possible. But again, so whilst they have the great functionality, there is room for SKYBET to improve in terms of how they're executing this. CROWNBET, we saw, had some quite low evaluations across the different metrics that our consumers evaluate the homepage against. These 4 screenshots, as you scroll down the homepage, the one on the right-hand side is the hamburger navigation slide-in menu. CROWNBET scored just 70%, which was 12% behind the market leaders for appears to meet needs, which is the consumers' impressions of the homepage. So 12% is a significant gap. You can see on the left-hand side that CROWNBET are really putting all their eggs in one basket and really promoting the horse racing options for their visitors. Now, it's important to understand, obviously, horse racing is a key priority for them, but we'll see as we move on that there is a huge opportunity in other sports, and it's important to make sure you're catering to those audiences as well. In the middle, you can see that they are very much focusing their homepage real estate on promotions that they have and also functionality of not only their products but also their website. They have a good score for meets expectations and builds trust because they do have quite a lot of functionality on this homepage, but again, important to balance that with execution to make sure that our homepage is communicating to visitors why they should stay on CROWNBET if they are, for example, looking at a sport other than racing, and encourage them to enter the site with trust messages, with options to navigate to other areas or other events, and balancing that with these messages that you can see on screen. Moving on to introducing options. So here we're looking at, again, a few select brands. In the yellow, we have the score for initial engagement, and on the right-hand side in the red, we have their score for introducing options. For these brands highlighted, they are successfully facilitating their visitors through to the next stage of the on-site journey. However, you can see for these brands in the middle that their score drops and the experience drops off quite significantly at that very first hurdle. So really important to focus in this area, and something we perhaps take for granted as we are looking at a specific audience who will bet very regularly and become used to the navigation. But we need to ensure that it's easy for visitors to find access to other events that might not be the same one they use every day, because there's a huge opportunity for us perhaps to get someone who's used to betting on horse racing to start maybe having a dabble within football. Here we're looking at some of the results for our tasks. So for BetVictor and SKYBET, we asked them to identify the odds for the Aintree Grand National, and for CROWNBET we asked our visitors to find all round one AFL matches that were available for betting. So here on the left-hand side you can see the different metrics such as success, so how many visitors were able to effectively find that information. BetVictor by far leading the other two brands. Confidence, that our consumers felt they had found the correct information. Below that we have evaluation. The evaluation rate communicates the number of visitors who did not experience a problem whilst trying to complete this task. So for BetVictor, only 40% of visitors experienced a problem whilst trying to complete this task, whereas on SKYBET and CROWNBET, 85% of all visitors experienced a problem when trying to complete this task. Over on the bottom right, we've also got satisfaction. Our consumers tell us how satisfied they were completing this task. And over on the right-hand side, you can see the scores for the audit. So that's the criteria we spoke about with the best practice audit. So that is the functionality piece that sits within locating event options. Here, CROWNBET, SKYBET, BetVictor, we are looking at the different problems that were experienced whilst trying to complete this task. So for CROWNBET and SKYBET visitors, there were a huge amount of problems experienced, mostly to do with navigation. So finding where to look wasn't easy, it took a long time to find the information, and the navigation was difficult to follow. For CROWNBET, the task focused on AFL, as we saw earlier. Here we're looking at information from our marketing effectiveness data as to what our consumers that go through the study usually bet on. And as expected, horse racing leads the market. However, 45% of all our participants said that they would often bet on Australian rules, followed by soccer, which is around about 1 in 3 or 32%. So there's huge opportunities for these other sports, and we need to ensure that we're facilitating journeys for those consumers as well. So here, looking at CROWNBET, can see some of the voice of customer where visitors could not find the options for round 1 for AFL. We'll have a look into this now. So here we're looking at the click path for visitors to CROWNBET. 23% click through to the upcoming sports options lower on the homepage. Several visitors, however, click through to NFL options rather than AFL and had to navigate back to the main menu. 20%, so 1 in 5 of all visitors on CROWNBET who are looking for round 1 options for AFL actually navigated away from the CROWNBET website and reached the AFL website by accident, having to then navigate back within the site. So we're going to have a look at why these different problems occurred and see where we can possibly fix this. So, as we mentioned, a large portion navigated through to upcoming sports, which looks at future options for betting. They're then taken through to this navigation menu. As we can see, these options are quite slim, and that may be feeding why visitors click through to NFL. So it's not shown here, but we need to be mindful of how we utilize mobile phones and making sure that the different options enable us to easily and quickly click through to where we want to go rather than accidentally clicking through to a nearby option. Here we're looking at different snapshots of the homepage as you scroll down. As we mentioned, 1 in 5 navigated away from the website. So when visitors first come to CROWNBET, they're looking to place a bet. At the very first step, they have left the website. Looking over on the right-hand side, we can see that there's a link through to the AFL website, as they are an official wagering partner of the AFL. When we see high engagement with the footer, it indicates that visitors haven't been able to find a more suitable option for them and the navigation hasn't been clear within the navigation or higher on the homepage. So already we've identified that the option isn't clear. Second of all, people clicking through to this, we want them to remain on the CROWNBET website rather than navigating away. So it's a real opportunity or requirement for CROWNBET to improve accessibility or signposting to AFL options within the site, because as we saw, over 40% of visitors may be looking for AFL options. We saw that SKYBET for this task also struggled with a large amount of problems experienced by their visitors. On the homepage down the bottom, there is access to horse racing, however it is only the upcoming races. There's no access there to future races. Other participants click through to the hamburger menu and click through to the horse racing landing page, as you can see up the top there. But still many visitors found it difficult to find the correct information. Here we're looking at the click journey or click path for visitors to SKYBET looking for the Aintree Grand National. Highlighted in red is the horse racing landing page, and in yellow we can see where visitors have navigated back to the home page. So throughout their journey looking for this information, 15% navigated back to the home page and 35% revisited the horse racing page after visiting there the first time. And again, this indicates that visitors cannot find what they're looking for effectively. So on the horse racing page, many visitors have found it extremely difficult and navigated back and forth. And this indicates to us that the filter options at the top aren't effective in helping visitors find where they're going. So it's worth evaluating whether the terminology is not accurately or helpfully communicating to your visitors on the options available to them, whether it's that they haven't seen those options due to the formatting, or whether it's just not the functionality that they are interested in and they prefer to search in a different manner. So consider your search journey, how visitors like to search, and try and make it as easy as possible for them to filter in the manner in which not only that they prefer, but also that they understand and the terminology that's top of mind for them. BetVictor had great scores for this, so they lead the UK market with a score of 83%. The homepage offers several different ways of navigating through to various different options. So we can see several sports offered there, so not only football but also horse racing. We've got live events on the homepage that are coming up, and also the hamburger navigation. When you engage with the hamburger navigation, the different options available to you are sorted A to Z, making it very quick and easy for visitors to navigate through and find what they're looking for. When you reach the horse racing homepage, again, they're making it really easy for visitors to sort and filter and navigate based on their preferences. So we've got time, we've got today's races, we've got tomorrow's races, and options are also offered A to Z. So again, making it easy for anyone to find quickly what they are looking for. So coming back to what we were talking about with homepages, it's really important to offer as many different options as you can without offering a cluttered experience, and providing the functionality that best meets customer needs to facilitate an easy journey. And this is reiterated within the click path. We can see that BetVictor had quite a lot of success earlier in the funnel, whereas SKYBET success, first success comes quite late in the journey. Quite a lot of this will have been impacted, as we've just discussed, based on the landing page. So here we're looking at the SKYBET and BetVictor horse race landing pages. SKYBET provides today's next 10 bets on the top page. BetVictor provides options based on both location and time. For SKYBET, finding options for future races isn't clear, whereas it is on BetVictor, and also looking at how we organise that information. Moving on now to the betting slip. How easy or difficult are we making it for visitors to complete their purchase? Here we're looking at Betfred, SKYBET and TAB. And again, we can see the evaluation rate there. We're looking at, for the UK, we asked them to add a £20 fourfold match results accumulator bet. So whilst this is very specific, it does help us understand visitors' ability to find a specific bet that they might be looking for, and understand not only just for this specific task, but also what kind of issues other consumers might be facing. For TAB, we asked them to add a $20 bet for the 2016 Australian Derby. So here we're looking at the evaluation rate. You can see that while for Betfred, by far more successful, and that is in terms of the number of problems experienced, so only 29% experiencing a problem completing the task, and that is backed up by a high satisfaction rate. Over on the right-hand side, we can see that Betfred support this with great functionality, whereas TAB is somewhat lacking, and that may be somewhat of the outcome of people experiencing problems. We can delve in and understand how related that is to missing functionality and content. So here we're looking at the different problems experienced by the different brands. A large amount of TAB visitors and also SKYBET visitors found help or instructions were lacking to help them complete the process successfully. And also that finding where to start to place a bet wasn't easy. So this is almost 50% for both TAB and SKYBET. So here we're looking at the SKYBET journey. We've asked them to place an accumulator bet, and many visitors found even getting to these football options quite difficult. So again, a lot of issues at the front of the funnel. For this specific bet, customers need to know to click on the coupons tab up the top there. So we need to ensure that that is highly visible, but visitors also need to understand that terminology, and it may not be the most highly visited by consumers. Consumers will come to these different pages and it's important to make available options easy for them to access. So if, for example, someone normally comes and places a single bet, this is a real opportunity for us to get them onto the accumulator style bet. So for SKYBET, it's really about not only signposting the coupons tab and also ensuring that terminology is easily understood by all consumers, but also looking at the site architecture and information architecture and making sure that we're making it as easy as possible for visitors rather than hiding certain information behind specific tabs that aren't frequently visited. For Betfred, who had a very low amount of problems experienced, for their visitors, you reach the football page. Upcoming events are easily identified at the top of the page, meaning that no matter where visitors are, at the top or at the bottom of the when they first reach the page, they can easily find the upcoming bets. Visitors can easily click on any option that they're looking to place a bet on. It's easy to add it to your bet slip. And then all different options, including the accumulator bet, are offered here through the most popular pathway that most visitors will take. They're making it easy to access the accumulator bet, so visitors can even decide at this point what they would like to do. They're also facilitating an easy customer journey by having this pop-up, which clearly explains what that bet is. So ensure visitors can understand the terminology by helping them, providing help options to help explain it if they are new to this type of bet, and also make it easy to find. For TAB, we saw that visitors experienced a high number of issues. Now, it's easy for them to navigate to the horse racing page from the home page, clearly signposted by one of the top options. However, future races aren't featured on this page. So as a consumer, you reach the TAB website, you click on horse racing, and then you're only offered with these upcoming races. In order to navigate through to future racing options, visitors need to engage with the hamburger menu. Then if you click through to one of these options next to go, for example, and you've accidentally clicked on the wrong one, or you decide you'd like to place a bet on a different period, you cannot navigate back from this page. You need to re-engage with the hamburger menu and navigate through the journey again. So there's an opportunity here for TAB to make it easier and faster for visitors to navigate to different options, utilising their on-page options and real estate. TAB is also missing search functionality, which does enable visitors to find what they're looking for in a different and easy manner if they aren't sure how to navigate there directly utilising the navigation. We often see that as a last resort, visitors will utilise search when they have faced a problem, so it's another opportunity for you to try and keep the customer before they abandon and visit a competitor website. So in summary, 31% would leave the mobile website if experiencing a problem and visit a competitor. So it's really important, even more so than on desktop, where it is also important, that we ensure we're providing a frictionless journey and providing as much help as possible. The homepage has a significant impact on visitors' likelihood to stay or return at a later date. So we need to ensure that the homepage is communicating why your brand should be trusted, what the different options you have that are available to the different consumers, and how they can easily navigate through to those different options. It's important to, as we mentioned, cater to those different needs and enable people to search in the manner that they prefer, whether it be by sport, time frame, or a different search style such as future races or tomorrow's races. Ensure it's easy to navigate back throughout the site. So rather than asking visitors to re-engage with the hamburger navigation or go back to the start, make sure that if visitors have taken the wrong pathway from the beginning, that they can easily get to where they need to go. Ensure that your terminology is common and can be easily understood by visitors who may not engage with that specific type of bet or sport on a regular basis. Be mindful of how your navigation facilitates a quick and easy journey in terms of how we utilize mobile devices, and ensure that these options are quick and easy as SportsBet offers, so that visitors don't navigate back and forth to the wrong options. Finally, bring information forward in the journey if you can. So rather than creating many different pathways and landing pages for landing pages' sake, try and bring the information, try and make it accessible to them in a shorter pathway, as we are much more impatient on mobile devices, increasing the likelihood that we will leave and visit a competitor website who makes it faster and easier for me to get to where I'm looking to go. Finally, consider the implementation of search and also providing options available from A to Z for those who haven't been able to successfully navigate utilizing the on-page links. So thank you so much for joining us. Just to give you a bit of an understanding as to how this fits in with our subscribing clients. So today we've really just looked at a snapshot of the data that we have available, not only in terms of the brands that we look at, but also the depth of our criteria and the consumer feedback that we have. As a subscribing client, we work with our clients across 2 studies per annum, and also work with them on an ongoing basis to help them identify and prioritize their roadmap, and also work on quick implementations that can deliver those increases in conversion rates that we're looking for. We also execute quite a lot of bespoke projects looking to answer very specific questions, as I mentioned, if we are looking to evaluate apps or look at a specific audience or region or specific areas of the website. So thank you so much for joining us today. Our details are on screen, so please don't hesitate to get in contact if you have any questions about what you've seen today or would like to be involved in our next studies that are going to field shortly. Thank you very much.